Blog Talk Radio.
The Wisdom of Solomon, second chapter, starting at the first verse. For the unrighteous said, reasoning with themselves, but not aright, our life is short and tedious, and in the death of the man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we had never been. For the breath in our nostrils is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart, which being extinguished, our bodies shall turn into ashes, and our spirit shall vanish as the soft air. And our names shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance. And our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let us speedily use the creatures like in our youth. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of the spring pass by us. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor and righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not of our turn. He is clean, contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law, and objecteth to our infamy the transgressions of our education. He professeth to have knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself the child of Father Yahweh. He was made to reprove our thoughts. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. His life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just to be blessed, and maketh his boast that the Most High is his Father. Let us see if his words be true. Let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. For if the just man be the son of the Most High, he will help him, and deliver him from the hands of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness, and prove his patience. Let us condemn him with a shameful death, for by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine, and were deceived, for their own wickedness hath blinded them. As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness, nor discerned a reward for blameless souls. For Father Yahweh created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it.
Peace be unto you, brothers and sisters. Peace be unto you. This is your brother DL, Elder Youngman, for those that follow online. And the name of tonight's message is Who's Your Daddy? Who's Your Daddy? So our reading from the Wisdom of Solomon. That particular reading, again, is something that I've covered before, and, that's what it seems like the Father is doing right now, is bringing, all these scriptures that, I've covered previously back into my remembrance, but, he's showing it to me in a different light, from a different angle. And this particular reading, I remember reading it and feeling liberated by it. And the reason that I say, liberated is because it described the mindset. It reconciles, this evil, just this thought pattern, that we've been under the Gentiles, up until that point. Because, my walk took me through Christianity, took me through, engaging in heavy debate and conversation with, quote unquote, white folks, Gentiles, that called themselves Christian, that said that they followed the ways of the book. And, it was always this irreconcilable gap between how they lived, how they believed, the country, the banner that they're under, their worship of that banner. All of these things differed from, what they proclaimed that, their values were in Christianity. And, how the Father took me about that is, okay, we've got this common ground. We've got this baseline that we can, have a discussion on because, we're all Christians, right? But it didn't really take that long. And really, if you know me, if you've been around me, you know that when I get into a place where I'm debating, when I get into a place where, what you say has to make some sort of sense in order for me to let it go, I can be a very irritating person. I can be a very frustrating person to be around. And, the Father's done that because what that does is that causes people to be themselves. That causes people to, take off the blinders. I remember one person on Hub Pages, he just came out and he just admitted, just like, the police recently that were caught in North Carolina talking about how they were really just ready to get into this race war thing and just start slaughtering black people. He started talking about how, he was ready for it to get back to the point where we didn't have rights. And, we could just kill you and rape you whenever we want. And it's like, you just proved with what you just said, you proved every point, every accusation. What's in this book is not inside of you. What is inside of you is what you just said, you just expressed, would make you happy, would make you feel good. You got murder inside of you. You got rape and molestation inside you. You got torment inside of you. And, this reading wraps all of that up into a neat little package. And, when you study the Apocrypha and you study the canonization of the Bible, and you study how, they convened these councils and, they went, these councils of Greeks, these councils of Gentiles, going through the holy writings, going through the writings that weren't even created by them, okay? They don't even have the understanding necessary to comprehend what they're reading when they're going through these sets of scriptures. So they get themselves together and they canonize the books of scripture. They take out books, they add books, they make revisions, they do this, that, and the other. When you study how it was done, and you study how they went about taking the books out, which books were taken out and why, and then you actually sit down and you read the books for yourself, you can see it's just like anything else that, that the Gentiles control. Anything that's not complementary to them, they remove. They act like it doesn't exist. And that tells you, that's a description, a characteristic of, of Satan, a deceiver. And these are the children of the fallen. My brothers over at One Nation just did a series on the children of the devil. And, you know, that in part is kind of one of the basis for the question that I have for our people today. If this scripture is describing the mind of the unrighteous, the ungodly, the heathen, and I'm not just talking about white heathens, I'm talking about spiritual black heathens, I'm talking about all the way back to Nimrod's time, the unrighteous, the ungodly. This book, if it's describing that mindset, is describing the mind of the children of the fallen, the children of Satan, the children of the watchers that we know have a curse upon them. Okay, this spirit was embodied in Nimrod's rule, in the rulership structure that was set up during Nimrod's time after the flood, after the angels fell. You know, Nimrod reinstituted this religion of the fallen angels, this belief system, this management structure, where one group of people goes up and then everybody else goes down. Those people that go down serve the people at the top. This has been with us all the way since the flood, okay? And these are the children of the fallen. So we've established that. We've seen that. We've been under that. I've covered that very thoroughly. That's one of the things that the Father's given me to teach on, is Nimrod in this system, and how the two kingdoms that are at war have only ever been Babylon and Israel. Okay? Now, Babylon is cursed. When Gabriel came down here and the Watchers' children were dealt with by Gabriel, when the angels came down, the flood wasn't the only time the angels came down. The Exodus, when the Father came down here and smote Egypt, that wasn't the only time that the angels descended. The Father sent boys down to deal with the fallen and their children. And what Gabriel was tasked with was going down and causing a curse to manifest itself on the children of the Watchers. Now, we understand that a Gentile is from angelic seed. A Gentile is not a terrestrial being. A Gentile is, a being that was created by what was described as reprobate and bastards in the book of Enoch. So these were the children of the fallen. These were the descendants of the giants. So the curse that's on them manifested itself and it hid itself in the kingdom of Babylon. And again, Babylon is with us today. You've got factions that have grown up within Babylon. Babylon is a warring state. It fights within itself. So, basically, what we come to understand is that if these white folks, these quote-unquote white folks, didn't have, darker skinned people to fight with, they would fight with one another, because they cannot be at peace. That's the curse that's on them. They're not people that can be peaceful. They're not people that can coexist, even within themselves, right? So these are the angels' children. These are Satan's children. We got two factions that are in power now. We got tyranny, we got anarchy, and they're going back and forth for what's left of Mystery Babylon. But what I'm noticing now that the 400 years has elapsed, now that it's very obvious that this kingdom is in decline. Now you've got the seat of Mystery Babylon changing hands yet again. The 45th president of the United States He has come and he is within 4 years degrading this place down to, basically, just another country. It's not the rulership of the world anymore, okay? So he's come in and he's done what the Father has given him to do as far as changing this place to essentially, $1 billion trailer park is what I call it. So now you got the power structure shaking. And what the Father's done is he's put a divide within the people, even within their own houses. You've got these old dog, quote unquote, Republican, conservative, whatever you want to call them, the old guard that believes in white supremacy, that appeals to Donald Trump. And then you've got the blue dogs. You've got, as my brother calls it, the John Brown brigade, where these protests, when you see them on the TV today, you see a lot of young white people, and this is the manifestation of anarchy. Whereas those old dogs, the old red dogs, are trying to hold power, trying to keep up a tyranny state, and they've fallen behind Donald Trump. And you've got these blue dogs falling behind Barack Obama, and they're in the street. Anarchy is much bigger than this dispensation of terrorism. But what I'm noticing is that there is an empowerment, sort of a movement that's going on within the Hebrew community, within this African American community, where you're beginning to see the ruler began to acquiesce to the rule, the conquered people. You see these weird gestures now where you get these white folks together and they're kissing the feet of these Negroes. And, the Negroes are just so, it's disgusting. They say, oh, thank you so much. They ain't done nothing. Okay? It's just a gesture. They went in their pockets. They haven't changed any laws. They ain't done nothing. They just got there and put their little Gentile lips on your feet, and now you think, the kingdom has come again. Did that when Obama got in office. And we just so simple. We just so dumb about things that are real. In regards to being able to live here in Mystery Babylon. It's frustrating to see, but we have to go through it. But you see these gestures. There's this white woman out there in the midst of the protest with a sign that says that she only gives oral sex to black people. Niggas just lose their mind over that type of stuff. They don't even consider that there's a blue angel spirit that wants that doesn't want to kill your body like the red angels do, but they want to kill your spirit. They don't get that. And I have to ask the question of my people: who's your daddy? What set of values is working on the inside of you? Even within the Hebrew nation, even within, the quote-unquote woke people that understand who we are, who this country has derived its power from. Who's your daddy? And the reason that I ask that is because when Yahshua dealt with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he stood against the entire world, his own people were the ones that turned him into the Romans. And the Romans and the organized church and his own people, the Israelites, came together. The Israelites said that they would that the curse would be on them and their heads for turning over the person that they knew was their king. So it was the whole world that stood against the Son of the Most High. And all of them were children of the devil, children of the fallen. All of them that stood against the way and the word of the Most High were of this world, were spawned by this world. And I think what really got this into my spirit to have to come out here and say something to you about it is this thing that I'm seeing on on YouTube, this trailer for this series called Cracker. And this isn't the first overture that I've seen in this, where these Gentiles are now coming into this thing where, okay, our guilt has driven us to now, we're going to allow you to do to us what we did to you. And I have to question that, brothers and sisters. I really do. Because we're coming down to the sifting. And, our sifting has always been this violent frontal assault where, they've come against us and they've hung us and they've, tortured us and done all these terrible things to us. That's a red angel sifting. But see, now we're coming into this thing where we're being tempted like David was tempted. Okay? Everything was going on good for David. Okay? His enemies that would do him physically harm were, they were down there on the battlefront. And, when he took his time off and, was hanging out on his front porch, the blue angels got a hold of him. Lust got a hold of him. The good times got a hold of him. And he looked off of that sun porch and he saw a buttload of blue angel trouble. Okay? There's another man's woman that, he could go and get with. And see, we had to be careful, brothers and sisters. We had to be careful because our walk here, our, this walking across this proving ground, the Father's not looking at the Gentiles. He's not looking at the evil that they're doing. He's not looking at the fact that, that they've gone right back to the mindset where they were back in 1960 when he hit the pause button, and he caused them to have to put it in their laws not to just murder us. He paused the time. He slowed down the time so that the years could be fulfilled, so that we could even make it to year 400. Okay? But see, now what we're dealing with is, this embodiment of Bathsheba rolling over saying, tapping on that big old behind saying, you can have some. Okay? Now they're saying to us, okay, we're ready to start portraying ourselves doing, enslavement. We'll show you that we can repent by, portraying you in the power seat. We'll let you do to us what we did to you. And see, brothers and sisters, if you don't recognize that that's a test, if you don't recognize that that's of the Father, if you don't recognize that in that act of sitting down and watching something like Cracker, where these black folks take into enslavement white men and they start raping white women and they start murdering and slave catching white folks that are running away from them and doing all this stuff that the Gentiles have done to us here over 400 years. You, in essence, have become your daddy. Those people are your daddy. If the law is not pleasing to you, if not allowing the Most High's judgment to render vengeance for you, if you have to be, if you have to see yourself, screwing some white woman and taking from her dignity in doing all the things that they've done to us, then you're no better than them in the eyes of the Most High. The Messiah said it. You have your reward. If you want it from this earth, you have your reward. Now, don't get me wrong. When the Messiah comes down here, and it's time to sharpen these plowshares and the swords, oh, don't think I won't wreck a whole city. Don't think that I will not go full Yahuda, superhero, crazy white fire destruction. Don't think I won't do it. Oh, I will do it. But it will not be me taking this stuff into my own hands and trying to render out of the earth what can only come from the Father. If this is a test for us, brothers, another test for us. You got to realize that these theories and things don't get made with no black folks' money. These are white folks. And what they want us to do is to take pleasure in their unrighteousness. What they want for us to do on that day when we're judged, those fallen angels want to be able to look across and say, well, they ain't no better than these folks ain't no better than us. That's what Satan wants to be able to accuse you of. They sat and they watched things about raping white women. So, again, they are not worthy of the kingdom. And that's what Satan's job is. That's what Satan, his jadedness is about men, indigenous men with the breath of the Most High, or non-indigenous men that are repentant and reborn and have taken on the ways of the Most High, taking his place in the heavenly realm. And that's what all of this is about, brothers and sisters. So you have to ask yourself a question. Has this devil, this torment, this this evil, this wickedness that you have been under for 400 years, has it been successful in separating you from the ways that you know are the ways of the Most High? Are you prepared now to be outside of the commandments? Now, brothers and sisters, defending yourself is not against the commandments. If somebody comes to your house to harm you or comes to you and yours with the intent of doing you harm, then you better. That's what a strong man does. You cannot come into a strong man's house and take it unless you first find a strong man. So the Father's not saying, you just sit there and get beat over your head like what these Christians tell you. Okay? If they come to you, you do what you need to do. But now, through media, through insinuation, they want you to be the attacker. They want you to be out there in the street demanding what is valuable to them, rights within Mystery Babylon. That's rights within Rome, rights within Greece, rights within the Empire State. And that title has changed hands many, many times. So, brothers and sisters, the thought I want to leave you with today is, who's your daddy? Whose values are inside of you? Are you capable of murder? Are you capable of rape? Are you capable of stealing and taking from these folks? And again, let me make sure that we're clear on some things. I don't believe in reparations. I don't believe that this Mystery Babylon will ever, without some sort of oath being taken or some sort of agreement, give you reparations within this country. I don't believe that that's going to happen. And if it does, I should say when it does happen, I'm not going to take that, man. Because you already know it's going to come with the mark. When our people plundered the Egyptians, okay, that was not by some decree of Pharaoh that these people come and they give, they give to the Hebrews. That was something that the people did. So if somebody that I know that's a Gentile comes to me and says that, hey, the Most High said to give these, man, I ain't gonna pass on that, because the Father moved them to do that. That's a totally different thing. That's a totally different idea than this government is going to one day get a conscience and start doling out cash to you. That ain't gonna happen. But if your values, if what you expect to make you whole is from the world, then you need to ask yourself, who's your daddy? Is your daddy people that have reaped this power in the earth? Do you want some of it? Do you want some of that blood money from them? Are these people that have murdered and raped, and have they taught you to murder and rape and do things that are outside of the scripture? Think about it, brothers and sisters. Who's your dad? I think my time is up. It is 27 minutes. So brothers and sisters, again, in this time, seek out the Father. Find Him. Find His ways. Find a place of quiet. Hide thyself. Hide with the Word. Study the Word. Talk to the Father. Keep a place of peace. Even if you in the midst of a city, if you couldn't get yourself out of there, okay, you make what little space you have, you make it about His peace, and you walk with Him, you talk with Him, and draw near to Him in this time. So your brother DL is out. I love you all as always. Shalom.